Hello, everyone, again. This is Steve Gluck, CEO of HelloNote here. So thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar. So this is a live webinar of HelloNote A2Z, where we're going to showcase many of our features, many that were actually on our pipeline for the last few years that we're excited to finally announce. This webinar will be recorded as well. So if you registered, you will get an email over the next few days, and it will have a link to the recording. So let's get started. So once again, thank you everyone for joining tonight if you're joining live. So the goal of this webinar is really to make sure that we relay all the features that we're releasing into our product to ensure that you know how to A, use it, and B, know that it's available. One of the challenges with an EMR system is it's not just one tool. So with HelloNote, we try to put as many tools as possible to save money in your pocket. I know, especially being a therapist and being in the field before, it's not easy running a practice. Running a practice has its own hoops to jump through. It is definitely a great feeling to run your own practice. However, it does come with a lot of tools and financial responsibility that you have to do, especially if you have staff, right? So when you have staff, you have a commitment to make sure you pay everybody, and reimbursement from insurances are not always that seamless. And if you're cash-based, then that's great. I'm going to showcase some tools on that as well. And we do have a lot of clients who are hybrid. I know hybrid right now is a popular model where you take insurance and you supplement with cash or self-pay services. So those are some things I wanted to discuss in today's webinar. And again, as I mentioned before, a lot of these features were on our pipeline for many years, and just finally now coming out. So thanks to our amazing engineering team, our QA team, we're able to bring those features to life. And we actually are very, very happy for our clients to give us feedback. So whether it's positive feedback, negative feedback, we want to hear from you because every feedback matters, and our whole system was built on feedback. So if you were with us from the beginning, a little over 10 years now, you know that our system has been evolving. Okay, so even daily, we used to push updates every day. Now we push updates on a weekly basis. Sometimes every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So we do our best from the HelloNote team, and we're very thankful to have clients that are startups, that are small size, medium size, large size, and even enterprise. So believe me when I tell you, we have some feedback from enterprise clients, from startup clients. They all matter, and they all help everybody. So keep that feedback coming. We do appreciate it, and we do want to make HelloNote a platform that can be used for all, because essentially that is why HelloNote was started. It was started to make sure that you can have an all-in-one system without a burden of your finances. So first I'm going to just run through a PowerPoint just to explain some of the chapters or domains, as we like to call, in HelloNote and in EMR. I'm not going to bore you too much with the PowerPoint. We'll just run through it, and then I'll give a live demonstration of the actual features. So let's see. So first slide. So HelloNote, tired of admin overload, missed payments, and patient drop-offs. So endless admin tasks, reducing time with patients, confusing billing and denials, delaying revenue, high no-show rates, draining income and morale, compliance burden, and paperwork chaos. So that's one of the things we want to try to achieve, is to offload a lot of these tasks, to automate a lot of it, or provide tools so it doesn't cause a burden on your practice. So your all-in-one solution. So streamlining your practice from A to Z. So HelloNote is an EMR built by therapists. Streamlines intake, scheduling, documentation, billing, and collections. Key benefits: save time, get paid faster, focus on patient care. So that's, again, one of our core values here at HelloNote, is to ensure that all the domains of an EMR work for you. So we want you to save time. We want you to get paid faster. And we really want you to focus on patient care because, again, when I started HelloNote, it all stemmed from just not wanting to spend most of my time on documentation and billing and treat the patient. So that's our belief, and it still is our belief for over 10 years now. So the first chapter is scheduling. So scheduling struggle is real, right? So playing phone tag with your patients, endless back and forth, high no-show rates, lost time and revenue. So those are things that a lot of clinics struggle with. And one of the features that we built out, well, not just one, many features that we're building out aims to address each and every one, including appointment reminders, cancellation alerts, even waitlist gap notifications that I'll show you in just a little bit once we finish with this PowerPoint. So HelloNote online schedule. So we do have an online schedule widget that we can plug onto your website. So it's 24/7, it's mobile friendly, it's real-time availability based on the schedule that you have in HelloNote. It has automated reminders, it reduces no-shows and increases staff efficiency because your staff does not have to go and schedule patients or play phone tag with them or call them or follow up with them. Patients can self-schedule and it just makes the process much, much more efficient. Streamline scheduling, a win-win for everybody. So patients can book anytime, staff saves hours weekly, and a lower no-shows equals more revenue. So nobody likes no-shows. So if you know HelloNote, you know we have attendance statuses such as canceled, no-show, late cancellation, or even therapist cancellation. So of course we want to avoid any of those types of cancellations or no-shows. So we aim to do that by providing a reminder for the patient, including a link right in the reminder where patients can actually acknowledge that they are coming for the appointment. Okay, so that feature was released a few months ago and we're already getting really good feedback on that. There's a few updates coming on that based on feedback, but it has been a game changer for a lot of clinics because now they don't have to rely that their patient, for example, didn't look at the message or whatever the case is. They actually know the patient is coming because they clicked the link on their reminder. Chapter 2, intake. Intake paperwork overload. Clipboards and forms everywhere, manual data entry errors, compliance tracking, stress, slows down new patient onboarding. So intake was something we revamped over the course of a few years. Actually, since around 2020, since the COVID pandemic, we released our patient portal. We actually had to release it earlier than planned because we knew that once the pandemic happened, the portal was going to be a much needed tool for clinics. So over the years, up until last year, we've been working to rework the whole portal, including where we are today, where we have dynamic intake and consent forms. So these dynamic intake and consent forms actually allow you to design your own forms, and you can plug in that data right into your patient chart on top of uploading a copy into the Documents tab. So again, we're always listening to feedback. So this is a new feature. It's a game changer. It's really, really cool, and I'll showcase a little bit of that in a little bit. So with online intake, problems disappear. So you save hours per week, no compliance issues, automatically syncs with patient profile in HelloNote, reduces front desk workload significantly, and it allows patients to complete forms from home ahead of their visit. So really important here, one of our aims is to make sure your front desk can focus on things that they have to do as opposed to things that the system can do. Okay, and it's something we're always listening to feedback, and we're always trying to design our features around, well, what can we take away from the front desk? What can we take away from therapists? What can we take away from billers? What can we take away from clinic owners? Because the system can do a lot for you, especially now with artificial intelligence being so prevalent in many industries. It is really the future. So we actually are working on a lot of AI R&D. So a lot of research and development is going into HelloNote to ensure that we can use that to your advantage. Okay, and I'll go over some of those things a little later as well. So less paper, less problems. So clean digital records, streamlined onboarding, happier patients and staff. So again, imagine patients having to call you, schedule an appointment. They come to your office and they have to sit in the waiting room and fill out paperwork. And if you're a mobile practice, then the therapist has to spend time doing the paperwork with the patient. And sometimes this paperwork can take a lot of time. Depending on the patient or family member, whoever's filling that out, it can take a lot of time. So our aim is to make sure patients can do that at the comfort of their own home with whichever family members or whoever they're working with, caregivers, and do it before they come into the office. And this also allows you to streamline your onboarding for them. Why? Because you can check eligibility, you can verify that their profile is fully complete, they sign all the consent forms and all of that. So really cool. As I said, it's a game changer. Chapter 3, documentation. Charting is consuming your life. Overwhelming note load, late nights, finishing charts, missed or incomplete data risks. So charting was consuming my life. When I was a treating therapist in an outpatient practice, it was really consuming my life. And I just said there has to be a better way. So, and I know to this day, I speak to therapists every single day, different clinics out there, and therapists have the same problem, right? So charting is just a big part of the industry of healthcare. And I think especially for therapists, we take the worst of it, because I speak to some doctors and some other clinicians and they just do a basic SOAP note and they're done, right? With therapists, physical, occupational, and speech therapists, we have to adhere to plan of cares. We have to follow guidelines, 8-minute rule billing, because we don't want to get an audit and all of a sudden now we have to give back some of the revenue that we work so hard for, especially if you have staff, right? So if you get a chart audit for your staff member, you're not going to take money away from that staff member, right? You have to ensure that they are doing whatever they have to do properly in their documentation. So if there is an audit, you don't freak out and you provide the documentation, you pass the audit and you move on. So, and that's what we speak about with therapists and clinic owners, is to make sure that happens. And again, I'm very happy to say that we have a lot of clinics that passed audits with flying colors. Clinics love to send us that 100% review complete with no errors because it makes them feel good and it makes us honestly feel even better because we provided a product that works, and we're happy to have our partners in service. And when you pass an audit, it just justifies exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. And again, the goal is not to overwhelm or overload therapists with notes. That's why we have a lot of tools within HelloNote, like data carryover. We're also going to be using some AI to make sure that notes are not exactly the same note to note. Also with our note templates, and I'll showcase that in a little bit as well. So documentation is a huge part of why we do what we do. But it shouldn't be something that you don't want to be a therapist because of documentation. So we want to make sure that we give you the tools needed to offload a lot of that life-consuming charting that is required by this industry. So one of the tools that we actually work with a few scribes. So the integration allows you to essentially have a scribe open. It listens to your note. It's AI assisted. It captures it during your session and allows you to focus more on your clients and not typing. So really cool. So you could reach out to us and we'll point you in the right direction, which integration options we have for scribes. And again, this is something that is changing the industry. So instead of you having to type everything out, AI assisted notes can listen in and then transcribe all of that into HelloNote. Every single box will get filled out for you and save it as a draft. You check on it, and then you make sure everything is complete to your liking, and you finalize your note. Again, very simple. So especially for evaluation notes. So with Scribe or even just using our note templates, it severely reduces your documentation time. So more time, better notes. So fewer clean denials, notes done faster, better care, better billing. So if all of the tools work together, all of these will happen, right? And the more you use it, the more you get proficient at it, the easier it is for you. And again, I'm proud to say that I have so many clients that started with us that were using other systems, or they weren't even using any systems. And now they can actually do charting and go home on time. So they don't have to spend extra time or stay late at the office, or just even at home. When you do notes at home, you don't want to spend your whole night doing notes or your weekend. Chapter 4 is billing. So getting paid shouldn't be this hard. Claims denied over minor issues, manual tracking of authorizations, delayed payments equal revenue stress. So if you do billing, if you're a clinic owner, you know that there's a big burden of making sure that billing is done properly and timely. So you, of course, don't want to do your notes late, because that can be a timely filing denial. Even errors such as, like, I forgot to put in the date of birth or something like that shouldn't be a problem, especially with our new dynamic forms. You can actually have the patient fill all that out. It syncs it to the chart, and you don't have to have those minor issues. Because honestly, most of the scrubbing issues that we notice are due to technical denial. So a lot of denials are simply because just somebody forgot to put something in. And that's why in HelloNote, we do have that audit tool. So when you submit claims, it stops you from submitting it, because we don't want you to get a denial. We want you to fix your error and then get properly paid. For authorizations, we have a lot of tools for authorizations, including reports. We speak to billing companies as well, just to make sure that HelloNote has the right tools in place. We're always learning. Insurances are getting more trickier all the time. So we're learning and we're giving feedback to our engineers, and our engineers are updating the system based on feedback, based on insurance guidelines, to make sure that you get paid properly without delayed payments or loss of revenue. So HelloNote also has automated billing. So say goodbye to billing bottlenecks. HelloNote automates claim check, submission, and tracking to accelerate your revenue cycle. So even though HelloNote has the tools to make sure that your claims get audited, that we stop you from submitting a claim that has a missing modifier or missing MPI or date of birth or referring provider. So we also now realize a lot of clinic owners or billers just want claims to go out faster, right? So again, the industry has always been evolving, and we feel like now it's at a point where it can be automated. Now, I'm a believer in just having somebody make sure you approve it before it just goes out to the insurance. But even with the tools that HelloNote has just to prevent errors, we also have tools now to automate that process. What that means now is, if your therapist, or if you are the therapist, you finalize your note and everything is good, we didn't find any errors, then why let it sit in our ready to send bucket, right? So why go and click a button to ensure that? So again, I'm a believer that I still like to have that extra pair of eyes just to make sure, but we're quickly learning in the industry, everything's about quicker payments, and clients just want payments faster. And the best way to do that is to automate that billing process. So we do have a feature. If you reach out to our support team, they can enable it for you. So what it does is, once you finalize a note, or any therapist finalizes a note, it automatically scrubs your claim, checks it for any errors. And if it does not find any errors, it pushes it to the clearinghouse. And then you can enable the auto release, where it actually sends it out to the insurance without you having to do anything. So essentially it completes that RCM process with claim submission. And then once you do get paid, the ERA gets sent to the clearinghouse, and we actually pick it up automatically and we put it right into HelloNote. And there is a section on the dashboard to let you know that there's a new ERA that came in. So again, everything is tied to automation and just driving faster payments. So happy biller equal healthy practice, right? So if you have a biller, if you're doing your own billing, whether you outsource, whether you do in-house, or even if you're doing your own billing, so we have the tools for you. We have the tools for your internal billing team, your external billing team, and we want to make sure that your billers are happy, because if they're happy, you are happy because you're getting paid. So increased approval rates, a clear payment timelines, more control, less guesswork. So the easier we make the billing process, the easier it is for you to make a revenue and make sure that you run a healthy practice. Okay, it's one of the reasons we actually added a dashboard with KPIs on it, because we want you to see your KPIs. We actually were surprised to hear that a lot of clinic owners are not utilizing KPIs. Some of them didn't even know what KPIs are, right? So it is our job, we feel like, as an EMR, to educate and to make sure that you are running a healthy practice. So next is chapter 4.5. It's 4.5 because it's still part of billing. It's collections. So chasing balances isn't therapy, right? So you didn't go to school and you passed your boards and stress out to, all those late nights studying to chase payments, right? So missed copays, poor visibility on balances, and confusing payment flows. So all of that is part of collections. So in HelloNote, and I'll showcase some of those features in just a little bit, is about making sure that you're getting paid, not only from the insurance, but also from your patients, right? So for example, copayments, right? Copayments are due at the time of visit, right? Regardless what you're billing, if a patient has a copay that they have to pay you to be seen on that day, you should be collecting it at the time of visit, whether it's upon arrival, upon checkout, it doesn't matter, but they have to be paid. And we have tools in place to make sure that that does happen. So you can collect it. So whether you're collecting it check, cash, you can use our credit card integration, which I highly recommend because it syncs everything. It just makes things so much easier and sends links directly to the patient to pay. So again, I'll show you that in just a little bit. So next is HelloNote Smart Collections, get paid without chasing, ERA importing and posting, card on file options, real-time patient balances. So ERA importing and posting, so that's what I mentioned just a few slides ago, where once you get an ERA, you don't have to go and have to manually plug it in. And then we also have the feature where you can download the ERA, import it into HelloNote, which again works well. Nothing wrong with doing that if that's what you want to do. But we're really trying to speed up that process and to automate everything we can while still giving you control. So again, we don't want to take that control away. We just want to make sure that if it can be automated with no mistakes, then that's what we want to do. So ERA importing simply means we're just taking that ERA, right? So that electronic remittance advice from the clearinghouse that the insurance sent of what you got paid or denial, and we're putting it into HelloNote in an easy to read format, so you don't have to go crazy reading those EOBs and figuring out, what you got paid, why you got paid, adjustment codes, remark codes, all of that. Okay, and then you can post it. So I'm a believer in single payment posting. Okay, so in HelloNote you have a check mark button that you can click and post the payment, right? But we also have a batch post button. I'm just not a believer in batch posting. Yet I know there's clients out there and billers that do batch posting. I personally think not to use it because I want to know exactly what I got paid for which data service. So even if it takes me a couple minutes to post my payments, at least I know and I'm in control over what I'm getting paid for each data service. Okay, which unit, which CPT code I got paid what for. So when you batch post, it's no problem. You can batch post. But then you just have to make sure that you go and run your reports and make sure that you didn't get underpaid for anything. Card on file options. So if you are doing cash or you're a hybrid and you want to collect credit cards, so we do have credit card integration, and that also includes card on file. What card on file means is essentially you can input your patient's credit card into the system. Again, you have to make sure that they consent to that, and it saves it on file. So with our new intake and consent forms, the dynamic ones, one of the options is actually to allow the patient to put in their credit card, and then it saves it on file. Same thing if you want to send the payment link to the patient. You send the payment link and it saves the card on file. Just again, depending on your state laws, make sure that you're saving the card and using it as long as the patient consented to that. So this is a fairly new feature we launched, but we want to give you the control and your patients the flexibility to make sure that you're not chasing them for payments. Because even for patients, it's a burden to get a call and say, okay, I need your credit card. And then, a couple of days later, hey, I need your credit card again, right? So we want to do smarter collections so you can save the card on file and the patient pays their balance at each session. Real-time patient balances. So this goes back to just reports to make sure that you're running your reports and you could see exactly what the patient owes. So co-pays are easy. They're just due at the time of visit. But then you have to deal with co-insurances where you have to wait for the ERA. So things can get a little more messier there. So you want to make sure you run your reports and you get real-time balances as you post payments. So know where your money is, predictable revenue, better insight into practice cash flow. HelloNote's smart collection tools give you a clear real-time picture of every dollar earned and owed. With automatic ERA posting and balance updates, you eliminate surprises and stay in control of your cash flow. No more chasing payments or reconciling outdated ledgers. So again, use the system to your advantage. There's a ton of different reports, a lot of tools to make sure that you can look at your revenue and make sure that you're in the green. Okay, because again, a lot of times depending on your practice, there could be expenses that you don't even account for, and you see, okay, you got paid, let's say $10,000 for the month, but let's say for that month, you had $11,000 of expenses, right? So you might be happy with $10,000 or $50,000, whatever it is, depending on your practice size, but you have to track your revenue. And HelloNote actually has a bookkeeping and expenses report that we include free of charge for everybody. So definitely use it and make sure that you are staying in the green. So that's the end of the slideshow. So thank you for your attention on that. So the next part of this webinar is going to be just showcasing some of the tools that I highlighted. And I want to make sure that everyone knows how to use these features and which features actually need to be enabled by HelloNote and which ones are automatically provided to you. Okay, so here is our HelloNote main dashboard here. So again, I mentioned KPIs earlier. So just right here where you have the KPI section. So we want you to know in real time what's going on with your practice, right? So we have that revenue chart here on the left. You can see a revenue for each month. You put your mouse over it. It'll show you that. In the middle, it'll show you your total revenue. And then you also have some really important KPIs here, like how many monthly evaluations per discipline, monthly treatments, monthly referrals, your no-show cancellation rate, how much money is outstanding from the patient, how much money is outstanding from the insurance, right? So we want you to note that. And we understand running a practice takes time. There's a lot that goes into running a practice, and you don't have time to run reports all the time. So that's why we put it right here on the dashboard to kind of eliminate any burden of having to run a report and just kind of have it on your to-do list. We want you to know what's going on. And then you can also switch the KPI from month to date to week to date to today, whatever you want to do, however you want to run your reports. So let's go into our patient tab on the left. So the first thing I want to just go based on those chapters that I mentioned. So the first chapter is scheduling, right? So one of our clients actually was gracious enough to allow us to use her website. So I'm going to pull that up. Give me one moment. I'll pull up her website so I could show you what the scheduling widget looks like from her website. Okay, so I have Custom Care Rehab open. So this is Amy from Custom Care Rehab. So thank you, Amy, for your generosity of allowing us to share this. So essentially, this is a HelloNote scheduling widget that we can place on your website. Okay, so your patients can actually come to your website, click book now. You can put it on any page you want, essentially. It's a very small widget code. So, if you designed your own website, you can take that code and put it on your website. If you have a website designer, you can give it to them and they'll know exactly what to do with that. So your patient will come here. If you have multiple locations, it will list them out here. You could also select the provider that you want, and they could see all the weeks available. Like if I go to today, it won't give me the option to schedule today because already all the time slots are out, but I can schedule for tomorrow and so on. So for example, I'll go to next week and you'll see here that there's a lot of booked, right? So there's a lot of bookings that are already done, right? So that just means that patients already have been scheduled, and not just patients, it could be also static events. So maybe non-patient events that you have. This is a website where you have the schedule widget right on your website. So your patients can look for any dates that they want to schedule for. It will show booked for any patient events and non-patient events. So this way they can book on top of those. So anything available, they can click and it'll give them the options to put in their name, date of birth, phone number, email, and comment to you. So once they fill this out and they press submit, it's actually going to thank them for the confirmation. It's going to send them an email with those intake and consent forms that you decide you want patients to fill out at their first visit. So which is really cool because if you have 100 forms, that's exaggerating 100 forms, but if you have 10 forms, then, and you only want them to fill out 5 specifically for just the first visit, you can select those 5 to be scheduled. So let's say the appointment that the patient wants is booked, right? And that's the only time they can make it. So they actually have, we actually have a add to wait list. So they can click add to wait list and then they can choose the scheduled date and time that works for them. And they can mention that to you as well. So again, really cool feature. It syncs directly into your website. You have full control over that. And patients can just find you online. We've had a lot of clients let us know that they did a lot more search engine optimization and they have less phone calls and more bookings. Why? Because they were able to spend some money on search engine optimization, add this to the website, and now patients can find you online and they can book directly on your website without calling you. So again, once the patient fills this out, right, then let's go back here. I'm just going to go to the schedule tab for a moment. So on the schedule tab here, so you'll see on the top, there is a red button with a ribbon that says 7. That just means I have 7 pending appointments. So every time a patient schedules or attempts to schedule a session, whether it's a follow-up or a new session, it will send them an email to fill out forms if they have not done so already, right, to streamline that intake process. And it will send you an email for the office to let you know, hey, you have a patient that's wanting to schedule an appointment. So at that point, you have a choice. You can click here and you could see all your pending appointments. Okay, so you could see here, I had a few other ones already here. Also, their comment will be here. So if they make a comment to you, you'll see it here, which is great. Now, because for example, this patient didn't select the provider, meaning they chose any provider. They didn't mind which provider, they just wanted to be seen. You can actually click assign provider and assign them one, which is really cool. Now, we also have a really cool feature for available slots. So let's say this patient has to be seen for, let's say it's an evaluation or a reeval. So you need to fill that slot. So right on this tab for available slots, I can actually click interval and then let's say I know I'm going to need 75 minutes for this patient. So I click 75, I press search, and then it actually tells me, do you have any openings on your schedule for either all your therapists, or you can select one for the 75-minute session. And it'll find any gaps in your schedule that fits that criteria. I could also do 60 minutes and so on. So again, really cool. So this way, right away, hey, I know I could see this patient or I have to reschedule them for another day, whatever the case is. So there is a button here called Gap Fill Notification. So Gap Fill Notification will actually alert your whole pending appointments, so your whole wait list, that you have an appointment available for that time. So let's say you had a patient that has a late cancellation, right? We don't like late cancellations, right? So those are terrible. So let's say a patient cancels, 3 hours before their appointment, and now you have a gap in your schedule. So whether it's for you or your therapist, so you can come here, you could search for that time, click gap fill notification, and then it will send an email and text message, depending on what's on file for the patient, to let them know that this appointment is now available. Again, this reduces so much front desk work, or if you're a clinic owner operating your own business, this is huge because now you don't have to pick up the phone and panic and call everyone to say, okay, like I need you to, let me know if you can make this appointment, and then you have to call another patient and so on. So this does the work for you. This will do exactly what it's intended to do to save you time and money, because you don't want to have a loss of revenue because a patient fell off the schedule. So really cool, really important feature to utilize. And once a patient gets an alert, at that point they have to call you, or however you want. If you prefer email or call, they could let you know, hey, I'll take the spot, and you can quickly assign it. Okay. So one thing about the waitlist is, for any of your patients, you can actually use the action button here to put them on the waitlist. Okay, so if you ever need to add someone to the waitlist, like let's say there's a patient that canceled, but they still want to come for a later appointment or for another day. So you can actually click add to waitlist, and it's going to show you you want to add to waitlist, and then you'll notify, if you want to notify them with a written confirmation, you can do that. And then it drops them from here and puts them onto the waitlist. So again, really cool. A lot of cool automation that happens there. So that's how the schedule widget works. So it allows patients to schedule online, to find you, and book an appointment without them having to pick up the phone. And so I just want to show you. So I have some tabs open here. So let me put in the date of birth here. Okay, so once the date of birth is confirmed, so again, the patient will get an email upon them scheduling or requesting to schedule, hey, fill out these forms. So you don't have to go and click the button to have them fill out the forms. It will do this automatically. Okay, so again, a lot of cool automation happens here. You can, of course, send this manually to the patient. You can select the forms, but you can also do this automatically. So once the date of birth is verified, so we have therapies here. So thank you, Madeline, for allowing us to share your intake form with us. So this is an example of a dynamic intake form. So you could just see how nice this is, as far as like you can apply so many different options here, right? So all these questions are essentially to your preference. You can have check boxes, drop downs, whatever you need. And the patients can just simply click next, and it'll go through there. So again, you could see here just the kind of dynamicness of it, different columns, different options that you could put in, even images can be put in here. So really, really cool. Also, we have the feature for that credit card authorization. So as long as you allow, it should be in your intake form, that the patient is allowing you to store their card on file, they can actually put in their credit card in here. Okay, so it'll save the credit card on file, and then as needed, you can charge them. So again, really cool. And then once they submit it, it gets uploaded to their chart. Okay, so just going back to the schedule. So one thing I do want to mention is the show map feature as well. So I know we have a lot of mobile practices. So, but I do want to point out that the show map feature right here, it's not only for mobile. Okay, and I'll explain why, because I actually just did a podcast with someone recently that just let us know that this would be a great feature for a lot of clinics. Why? Because you could see where your patients are located, and it's per discipline. So you could actually filter out the roles and the providers and so on. So just by this, if you have patients in different areas, you could actually know if you should open up assisted location. Maybe you have a lot of patients somewhere, farther out where you are, and it would be a good idea to open up a new location. So I highly recommend using this feature as well. All right. So going back here. So a little bit about the schedule, the wait list, the show map, the gap fill notifications, which are really cool. So that's about. So that concludes that scheduling chapter. So chapter 2 is the intake. So I did mention those intake forms can be done. So now one of the things I know it's a lot of our partners in service are waiting for this is the Kiosk feature. So we're calling it our front desk assistant feature. So it's a really cool feature. We actually have been working, the R&D for that has been going on for a few years now, but we're very close to launching it. We're actually doing a pilot of it. So let me show you how it looks like. I'm going to put it into full screen. All right. So I just have this loaded in a separate kind of branch of our system. So with the front desk assistant, on the left side, you'll have an option for clicking front desk assistant. So you can use any device, right? So if you're a clinic and you want to put something on your front desk, like a tablet, whether it's Android, Apple-based, Windows, whatever you want, you will just log into HelloNote. You will click front desk assistant, and then it will turn that device that you have into kiosk mode. So your patients will be able to come in and simply check themselves in, check themselves out. Really, really cool. So for example, and it, by the way, will have your logo on it. So this is just a dummy example. So it has our logo, but it will be branded with your logo. So clicking check in, patient will just put in whatever it is, put in their date of birth, to verify, and then it will it will verify their identity, of course, and then it will go in and allow them to sign any other intake or consent forms in case they haven't, update information, schedule, make payments, request a callback, upcoming appointments, and rate their expense. So one thing, just to quickly go over it. So updating information, let's say their address, phone numbers, insurance. They can schedule their next appointment. They can make a payment. So here it's actually going to give them feedback in real time. So it's going to say, it's welcome to their appointment for 10, and they have a $20 copay due. So they can just click make a payment. If they have a card on file, great. It will charge it. If they don't have a card on file, they can put it in. Now let's say, and again, we work with so many different clinics, and let's say you're a clinic owner just working for yourself. You don't have a front desk. So the patient essentially comes to the front desk and there's a kiosk there waiting for them. But there's no one on the front desk because maybe you are treating. So you're done treating the patient. They check out. They can actually request a call back from anyone on your team or from you to make sure you come to the front or something like that. They could also print any upcoming appointments, which is really nice. And then they can rate their experience. So rating their experience is something like an Net Promoter Score, NPS score, where patients can actually give you feedback. How was their session? All right. This is not going to be public. This is going to be more aggregating data for you because you want to know how your patients are doing, right? Especially if you do have other therapists providing treatment and things like that. You want to know what time of day patients are happier, what time of day maybe they're not happier, what week of the day or seasons, things like that. So it'll be really cool. It'll tell you a lot of different analytics to make sure that you are essentially running a practice where patients are giving you 5-star reviews. So yeah, a little bit about the kiosk feature. So we're close to releasing it. So hopefully in the next few months or so, we'll be able to launch a pilot. We already have a lot of clinics that are on our pilot list for this. So if you're interested in being a pilot clinic owner for this, let us know, and we'll make sure that we put you on. And then of course with HIPAA in mind, it'll automatically time them out, and if there's no, if nobody touches the screen for a couple seconds, it'll bring them back to the check-in, check-out. So yeah, that's a little bit about the kiosk feature. So next thing is going to be, so patient comes in. So we went over the intake form already. So I'll close out of that. So I'll go back to the patients tab. I'm going to use a sample patient here. So one thing we also incorporated here is a patient checklist. So again, a lot of what we want to do is give you control. So we've had a lot of these just by default, But now we added a feature where you can add your own patient checklist. So you can add checklists to your patients. So like referral received, eligibility, again, sky's the limit. Just press add your own. And this way you can make sure that you or your staff everything's in line to make sure that the patient is getting treated, their eligibility is good, their notes are getting done, billing is done, outstanding balances and things like that. I actually just recently saw someone add something like outstanding balance, or they put something like high outstanding balance, but just as an example. So now I have something like outstanding balance. So right from the patient chart, I can actually see, okay, if the patient has outstanding balance or not without running a report. Now, one thing I actually made a recommendation for this clinic is just to put something in the patient alert as well. So patient has a very high outstanding balance. Must elect ASAP. So with the patient alert feature, which I love this feature actually, because if I click on any patient and I go back to that patient, it'll give me a nice little yellow bright pop-up to let me know that, whatever alert. It doesn't have to be a high outstanding balance, but you can use it for however you need. But again, point is that you don't miss anything that you need for the patient. Okay. So next is something I want to mention are those events. Okay. So if you create events for your patient right here to the left of the edit button, you can specify any event you want. You can put in the date and time, and HelloNote will send you a morning email. It comes out, I believe, at 8 a.m. Eastern time, and it'll just give you a summary of all your patient events due for that day. Okay. And we actually have a feature coming where it's going to send you an email on the date and time. So on top of a morning email reminder, it will actually send you an additional email to let you know, hey, you have this event due as well. So again, really cool. And again, a lot of things are done here. So you don't have to keep things in the back of your mind. They're just there and done for you. Okay. So if I go to the insurance tab, for example, you'll notice that in a lot of the action buttons across the system, you're actually going to see this button here. So this is new. We released this about a month ago. So this is essentially a shortcut to create an event, because the feedback that we had is that the create event feature is great. The problem is, while you're busy operating a clinic, you have to remember to go to patient information, click add event, and create it. So what we did is we actually made shortcuts here. So in a lot of sections here, you can click actions, add event. It preloads, for example, eligibility. Then you can put, whatever you need your comment. So we made it easier for you to use the events. We want you to use the events and not lose out on any important reminders that you have. So even authorizations, right? So clicking actions here. So you want to press edit, add whatever you need. So authorizations are super important. We went over that in a prior slide. But yeah, use the system to your need. Just make sure that you are using it because again, there's a lot of features in it. So we want to make sure that you know about them. And another feature that highly recommend is the check eligibility feature. So you'll see here, there's an eligibility column, and right now it's like a yellow pending. So this means I never ran eligibility for this patient. Okay. So if I click actions, check eligibility, so I don't have this enabled on my dummy account, but you'll see here on your side, if you try to check it and it fails, it's going to have like a red X. And if it passes, it'll be a green check, and it'll say the date time it was last run. So, and the eligibility report, it captures that as well. So you don't have to use it per patient. You could see exactly what's going on with all your patients' eligibility. And I do recommend signing up for this feature. This does not come out of the box because it requires our vendor to enroll you. So reach out to our support team or click this. And if you get this error message, click on the link. It'll open up a new tab, and it's going to have instructions on how to sign up. So again, I highly recommend that. So that's a little bit about chapter 2. So that was the intake chapter. The next chapter is the documentation. So for documentation, when you go to the notes tab, So you have all your cases here. Everything is ready to go for you. So you press add new if you need to add a new case. So one thing I want to point out is when you click on the insurance, right? So you can actually preload a lot of these settings right from the insurance. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So for example, let's say if the insurance is Med B, Medicare Part B, Texas, right? Let's say you want to make sure that the profile is default. And let's see on the bottom here, you want to make sure time in, time out is required, automatic eFax plan of cares, things like that. So even billing rules can be specified. So let me show you how to do that. So on the left side, so if you go to settings, okay, and you're going to go to insurance and payer ID. So before I click that, I just want to make sure everyone utilizes this feature here. So instead of me having to go through the whole navigation to find whatever I need to find by clicking, I can actually type in insurance here, and then any keyword with insurance, it brings up for me. I click it and it brings me in. So again, really cool. So I don't have to, manually click around, which again, a couple clicks, but anything we can do to save you time, we will. But going back here, so for example, Medicare. So let's say for Medicare, I want to click actions, preset case rules. And then you'll see here now, I can preset whatever rules I want for Medicare. Okay, so this is per insurance. You can select profile, the place of service, case type, any of the note rules, and any of the billing rules. Okay, so a lot of these rules, we're always updating new rules. We actually have a lot of new rules coming up as well. Some of them to mention just for automation is going to be this automatic eFax plan of care, which is a really cool new feature that we have added. So it will automatically eFax your plan of cares upon finalizing. So I highly recommend checking that out. So we just launched it. We launched it as a pilot, especially with the Medicare guidelines getting updated to specify that, it does not. So again, depending on the plan of care, like for example, the initial eval, as long as you have proof that you faxed it out or submitted it, then it covers you. Okay, so you can use this and it puts you right into compliance right away. Whether you got it signed or not, at least we have proof that it faxed. You can go to the settings and the HelloNote fax status, and it shows that it was sent out. Okay, of course, you want to still make sure you get it signed, but at least for compliance, you don't have to go crazy and chase after the doctor. Next thing, just to mention, so this Daily Note AI similarity check. So this is actually a feature a lot of clients have been excited about. So this is going to use AI to make sure that your daily notes or therapist daily notes aren't exactly the same note to note. So it can have some variation in there, but it shouldn't be exact copy because you don't want to get a denial. And even as a therapist, like, you don't want your notes to look exactly the same as well, right? But sometimes as therapists, we get overwhelmed and we just want to finish the note quickly. So it's the job of the system to make sure to let you know, hey, everything's good, but maybe you're subjective, you forgot to change, okay, or something like that. So I do recommend setting up the case rules for insurances. So going to the next setting here. So we do have those evaluation note templates, right? So evaluation note templates are something we've had for a while. One thing we added here is if you created a template. So let's see. So where it says created by, you could see here it has different names. So if it was myself who created it, it's going to say you. Now I can click actions, and there's a button here called share locally, meaning I could share it with other team members or therapists within my clinic, or I could share it with affiliated offices of my office. So what that means is, let's say I have offices, across my city or state. I have sister offices, so I can easily share it with them. And then we just introduced this new feature called Share Globally. So if I click Share Globally, it actually will allow you to share this template with the HelloNote community. And our goal is going to be to expand the HelloNote community, right? We really want therapists to work together. And we feel like one of the ways to do that is to open up the HelloNote community We also have a Facebook group that will be opening up soon, so our clients can collaborate. And it doesn't have to be just for our clients. So we just want to open up HelloNote to the community of therapists and make sure that everyone is collaborating, because again, at the end of the day, we're on the same team. So with Share Globally, it will allow you to share this template. Just make sure you don't put any patient-specific information in there, and you could share it with the HelloNote community, and other community members can share with you. So again, we're really looking forward to expanding our community with therapists. So now the new custom note template feature. So this is brand new. This is not something launched as of right now. It's going to be launched probably in the next month, but it is live here, so I could show you what it looks like. So for example, I can click create new custom note template, and now I can kind of play around with my template. I can create whatever I want. I can add a, let's say I want to add some columns here, right? So I can add 2 columns, I can add 3 columns, whatever I want. So I add those columns, then I can drag in text boxes in them. I could put in whatever I want. I can design it. I could put date time stamped selections here. I can do drop down select. So there's a lot of really cool stuff to play around with. Similar to the dynamic forms. So essentially this is like a builder, and you can build your own form. Again, we will expand this to the HelloNote community as well. So as long as you are okay to share, then great. But others can share with you as long as they're okay with it, which is going to be really, really cool. So how it works is once you save it, then let's go back to patients for a moment. Okay, so we're going to go to notes. I'm just going to click on one of the cases that have already been created. So I'm going to click on new note here, and I'm going to click on, let's say I want to do a blank one. I'm just going to click add evaluation note. So again, all of this is familiar. So if I go to custom note, so here I could actually select from the templates, right? So, and we're actually working so you can add as many as you want. So you're not going to be limited to just one. So if I click pain questionnaire, so that's like a custom note template, right? So, just a simple pain questionnaire. So again, you can get as creative as you want with it, right? So there's a lot of niches in the industry, right? So there's the lymphedema, home assessment, home mods, neuro, there's so many, right? So we heard the feedback from therapists where, they just want to modify how their note looks like. And when they print it, they want it to print how they want it, right? So we will be launching this soon, and we're very excited for it because, we built HelloNote for therapists, and we want to give control to therapists to make their lives easier. So yeah, really cool. We're looking forward to this one, to launching this. So just to wrap up some other documentation things. So again, whether you're in office, meaning brick and mortar, whether you're mobile, hybrid, telehealth, we have it all. We have it all for you, right? So like even the signature tab here, right? So you could have patients sign, but new, you could select who the signer is. They sign, they saves to the chart, and you have proof that they were seen. So EVV is getting a little more prevalent in the industry now. I know Medicaid has been on top of that, and other insurances may be following soon. So you want to make sure that that patients are being seen, if they were supposed to be seen. And of course, telehealth we have as well. So if needed, we have that. So the last chapter is going to be the billing and collections. So billing and collections, again, is just your ability to make sure patients are paying you or insurances are paying you. So if we go to visits and receipts, which is where our ledger is, so just to simply showcase this, one of the checkboxes here is patient balance greater than 0. So let's say I have a whole bunch of visits here, but I just want to see any patient that owes me something. So I click patient balance greater than 0, and here we go. I have one. Right. So I see here, okay, the patient owes me $10 copay. So now I have the option to click on it, press options, print. Okay. Print the invoice for the patient. Okay. And it actually says, do you want to mark this invoice as sent? So this is actually a suggestion from a client where once you print it, they want to track that. They want to track that they actually printed it. So you'll see here where it says balance on the right, there's a green check. So once I press yes and it prints it, it's actually going to give me a blue check on top of that. So again, it prints out the invoice, right? So it's very clear to the patient what they're paying you for. You can customize your footer here however you want. And we actually added a QR code. So you can actually add your own QR code. Patients can be redirected right to your payment page with our credit card processing company. So really cool. Again, very simple. So if you wanted to print this out for the patient, great. Otherwise, just going back here. So you could see here those icons now. I could see here, okay, I printed this note at this date and time with the invoice number, and this one I actually sent electronically. So we do have a lot of tracking options. So here, let's say I click actions here. So some things to showcase is I could click charge credit card. So if the patient never paid me with a credit card and I want to charge them, I click charge credit card. Notice it only gives me an option for new. If there was a card stored on file, then it would actually give me the option to select the prior card. So that goes back to those intake forms where patients can actually put in their card and it will save it on file. Now, if a patient pays once, it actually can save the credit card again. Save it for future as well. So you don't only have to use it for intake form, utilize it from the intake form. As long as the patient pays once, you do have the option to save the card on file. Okay, so that's one option. Number two is, let's say the patient does not want to provide you a credit card. Okay, and that does happen, quite a lot, I think, from some patients where they just don't want to give you a card number over the phone or in person, whatever it is. So you have the option to send them a payment link. So clicking send payment link will now send them this electronically to their email or text, however they want. So it looks like this. I have this open here as an example. So it will have your logo, your address, all of that will be branded for you. And it just simply gives them, what date and time their visit was, visit type, the invoice number, the amount due, and then the total. So in this case, you'll see here that there was a 2.9% credit card fee attached. So this is based on your state law. So if your state law allows for this, you can add it into the settings, and then the patient kind of gets added on a fee. So again, that should be in your consent forms, and just make sure that you know your rules in your state. But yeah, patient gets this nice link in the email. It's secure. So they put in their information, their card holder, whatever it is, they know how much they have to pay. This is not editable. So whatever you send them, they have to pay this amount. And then once they pay, this link gets essentially killed, meaning they can't visit it again. But they will get an email notification that they paid, and then it syncs back into the apply payment here. So it's going to show a $0 balance, which is really nice. So again, everything it's like a full circle, right? As long as you're using all the tools and you're properly using them, then your patient balances will just get paid. It's more streamlined and things like that. One other option here that I want to showcase is there is an option to say, so I'm going to close this link and I'll show you this one. So you can actually send the patient a email statement. So if you send them an email statement and they confirm, they actually get more. So this one requires identity verification because it shows more info, including printing. Okay. The other link that I showed, there's no statement. They can't print anything. So it doesn't even have the patient's name or anything. It just allows them to pay the bill. Here, this requires identity verification, and the link is only valid for X amount of days for HIPAA. So this way it expires after a certain point. So they can print their either statement here or the super bill if they wanted to. Again, really cool feature here that you can use. So next, so we went over, so we're in chapter 4 now with billing and collections. So one thing to showcase here is on the billing side. So when we go to ready to send and audit it, so I mentioned that on the slides, we can automate this whole thing. So meaning so if I click audit it, for example, so we have some things here. So for example, without you having to come in here and click select all and click submit claims, we can automate this to where it uploads directly to the clearinghouse and auto releases if that's what you want to do. Okay, so this part can be automated. And then same for the importing of ERAs. Okay, so if I go to import ERAs here, so again, you could see here, all these ERAs got imported. It'll tell you if anything's in error and why. You can also search by adjustment codes. So for example, here I got some claims that have a PR1, PR2, CO45, and so on. So our goal again is to just give you as much information in a clean way, and you can post it directly from here, which is really, really nice. We have been adding some more tools for secondary billing. Okay, so that's going to be actually a webinar that we'll be doing soon, maybe in the next month, about secondary billing. It will only be about secondary billing because there's a lot to talk about there, and we want to make sure that you're not spending time manually submitting secondaries when it can be done more automated. So that's a separate topic, which we're excited to launch. So from here, this essentially concludes a lot of the chapters we spoke about. So remember, a lot of these features are already included in the platform. Okay, if there's something that you noticed here that you don't know how to access or it's not showing on your account, just click the help button on the bottom left. Okay, so I highly recommend using this. You could search our knowledge base. Okay, and if you don't find what you're looking for, you could click contact us here. Just put in your name, email, select the category here, whatever question that you have. How can we help you? Put in your comments here and send it. So our support team will get back to you on that. So again, always reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll be happy to direct you in the right place and activate any features. So a lot of what I showed are already included in your account. Some of the stuff is going to be coming out. Just make sure you're reading our newsletters. Okay, so our newsletters do have a lot of cool information about either upcoming webinars and even features. A lot of times we have features there that we put in. So I do want to also make an announcement that we have a let's see, I'm going to bring this into view here. So we are going to be doing a live event with Next Level and HelloNote together. So similar to what we did with the HelloNote launch party in August the other year. So we're going to be in Boston this year, August 16th to 17th. So we're very excited about that. Right now, we just announced it. So there is an early bird promo code you can use. So again, just scrolling down here. So yeah, it has a lot of information. We'll send this link to you, okay, in the email. And there's, again, Rick Galenda will be there. So you don't want to miss that. There's going to be some new topics of discussion, which is awesome. Myself and Kara will be there, of course. And so again, it's going to be in Boston, August 16th to 17th. It's going to be action-packed. So again, we don't like to do boring events. So we're also going to be hosting on August 15th on Friday. So we want to do some social outings and even go to a Red Sox game. So I'm in New York, so the Red Sox aren't my team of choice, but I'll still be there. I want to make sure we network with everyone. So this is going to be a really cool event. And then, on Saturday, again, it's going to be action-packed. We're also going to have a lunch and an evening reception. And then Sunday, once again, will be an action-packed full day of learning and breakout sessions with keynote speakers and industry leaders. So we're really looking forward to that. So again, there is an early bird special right now. Okay, so you could attend the full event. It is $4.99. And then, just make sure you put in the early bird, which gets you $100 off as well to drop the price down. price down. So we are looking forward to seeing everyone there. Again, because it's going to be hosted in a hotel, so spots are limited. Okay, and I don't just mean to say that just to get everyone to register. It really is in a hotel, and there's a certain amount of people that that it can accommodate. So we want to make sure to give you a heads up before we start pushing this out across different platforms to get other people to register. But again, it will be action packed. It'll be fun. It'll be informative, educational, and you get to explore Boston, which is an awesome city. So yeah, I just want to mention the live event. So to conclude, again, thank you for attending. If you're attending live, if you're watching the replay on this, then thank you for watching the replay. And we're just very fortunate at HelloNote to handle many different clinics, right? So we deal with startups, small size, medium size, large size, and even enterprise level clients. So every client matters to us, regardless of what stage you are on. As a therapist who started HelloNote, we want to ensure that there is a place for everyone at HelloNote for an affordable cost, right? We don't want to burden you with a system that's driving your expenses out. We want the system to work for you, which is why we built a lot of these features around feedback. Okay, so again, every single feedback that we get, we speak about it with our team. Our team works very hard. Just again, from our engineering team, QA team, onboarding team, support team, sales team, onboarding team. So everyone works super hard to bring the product of HelloNote to everyone. So we can have the goal of treating patients and not a burden of running a practice or doing documentation and billing. So again, thank you everyone. Appreciate your support. And if there's anything that you always want to discuss, you can reach out to our support team, or you can reach me directly at steve@hellonote.com. I always answer my emails. So I look forward to hearing from you, and thank you again. And thank you to our marketing team for putting a lot of this together and making sure that we could do these newsletters and events and webinars to do outreach for you guys. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening.